सर्वे जनाः सुखिनो भवन्तु दीर्घायुष्मान् भव सर्वमङ्गलानि अभिवृद्धिर्भवतु. So today I'm just continuing as part 2 mathematics in karma yoga which I did in the part 1. So I was explaining about this multiple linear regression model where several variables decide our karma and rebirth and death and birth cycle is scientific, is as per the laws of science, and the entire principle is based on modern physics too. Matter cannot be created or destroyed, whether it is mathematics or physics or science or biology or humans or mathematics cannot, matter cannot be created or destroyed. Every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, which has been already stated in our Vedas. Paramatma is a nirgunaha and arupi, formless and without any character. He cannot have a character. See, so the equation is y, simple straight line equation based on Cartesian plane is y is a bx, where x is one variable which I told you and y is the value we want to decide. A is a constant always, because when you plot in the data in a Cartesian plane, I told you, when you say you take on the right hand side plus data, this is your time period, like 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, like that. You go on and say 2025, what should be your sales of your firm, and you plot your previous data. On 2001 it was 10,000 rupees, 20,000 rupees. On 2002, like that you plot. And sometimes the plotting is like the zeros, x coordinate, y coordinate, and we see like that it can go like this, then it can drop because of some recession. So you try to fit in a straight line to find out. The straight line is the slope of the curve. The curve, we can put a curve, the slope of the curve, and that's a beta value, we say that. And we try to fit in the straight line so that the variation from all these plotted data, they will not be much. They will project more or less a very accurate, something like coefficient of variation is high statistics. R value and all, we say 0.99 plus 1 or minus 1 it should be, to be perfectly correlated. Now that's something different. So we have to have all these variables. When x is one variable which we see in a simple linear equation, y is a plus bx. But in multiple linear, not only in the time period, not only the GDP, not only the interest rate in the economy, that is the banker's rate, not only the total sales, the inflation, all these things are several variables where you can plot out, and then you can find out what is the, for example, you want to measure the net profit, predict the net profit in 2026. These are all these different variables, multiple variables you are taking, right? Similarly, I told you, our karma is like that. It's purely scientific. This A, which I told you, is the constant. If you are born, generally your A will be minus 10, or you can, this is just an imaginary metaphor, a figure which I just pulled out of my mind for a greater explanation, for an explanation. It can be minus 10 or minus 20 or minus 100. Say a man who is born blind, handicapped, poverty, suffering, can be minus 100 because previous karma, he could have been a killer, he could have been a thief, a deadly thief or a deadly killer, a very evil person, wicked person, must be by 100, minus 100. And then in this karma he will have lot of variables, x1, multiple linear regression is bx is 1, then you have b1 x1, where then you have b2 x2, then you have say b3 x3, like that. You have various models. I told you x1, this basic x could be honesty, the 2 could be not stealing, 3 could be service to others, 4 could be respect to your parents, taking care of your parents, 5 is not thieving, stealing, 6 is friendly words, Apaishunam, as Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 16, verses 1, 2, 3. Please go through that. Ahimsa, Apaishunam, not criticizing others. It's a very big evil. Harsh words can be one of the evils. So if you abstain from all these things, your minus 100 you can earn, say, plus 10 here, plus 10 here. I'm just giving you a number, that's all. It's not really plus 10. If you have eightfold noble path of Buddha, then probably 12.5 is each variable. I mean, just giving you. So that if you have plus 10 and you have all the eightfold noble path of Buddha, for example, 100, this minus 100 will cancel all the sum total of these earnings you had. All these variables, example, 8 variables into 12.5 as per Buddha, Lord Buddha. You get plus 100, so you hit the 0. So I want Y to be 0 because that's a state of unborn, uncreated and unmanifested. Nothingness as per NASA scientists, especially Lawrence Krauss. The entire universe came out of nothing. Infinitely small dot is what they say. It is all right. So it is all based on the principle that God is impartial. God has to be impartial. God cannot create. That's what Mandukya Rishi says. If the immortal creates something mortal, then the immortal itself becomes mortal. Mayaya vidyate. I have told you that famous words. Mayaya vidyatehi ajam anyata katanchana tattvata vidyamanehi martyatam amudam prajet. That explained to you how the immortal, even if it has an iota of mortality, it becomes mortal. Then the immortality cannot create. So what happens? Matter cannot be created or destroyed. See, if you go to Gadhopanishad, in the very first verse and in the second Bali and the very, I think it is verse number 23 or so, the third boon of Nachiketa, he asks Yama, Yeche prete vichikitsa manushye asti iti cha eke ayam na asti iti cha eke. Etad vidyam anuchishtam tvaya aham varanam eshaha varam tritiyaha. Eshaha, this varam is my third boon. Varanam, of the boons. 3 boons he asked, first 2 he explains. This was very, Emma was flabbergasted. Ye che prete, ye, yaha yo ye, you get the Sanskrita, ye this, who, whichever, the ye che prete, in this preta, ye che prete, some vichikitsa means doubt. Manushye on the human, Manushye Saptami Vibhakti. Vichikitsa, Vedic word for Sandeham, Sandehaha, doubt, Ashanka. Vichikitsa Manushya, there are some doubts in the, seeing the preta, doubts are there in the mind of the human being. Asti iti cha eke. It is there, it is living. Na ayam asti, I am this, I am ime like that you get. Na ayam asti iti cha eke. No, it is not living. For some say it is living, some say it is not living. That's artha. Yetat vidya anuchishtam tvaya by you. Tvam yuvam yuyam. Tvam tva yuvam va ishman vaha. Tvaya yuvam by you. With you. I want to learn anuchishtam, taught by you. Aham, I have to learn, taught by you. This secret, whether this preta exists or this preta does not exist. Beautiful. Varanam varam eshaha tritiya. This eshaha this of the varas is my third boon. Yama was flabbergasted. He could not answer. Even Devairatharapi, even Devas do not know. But finally he gives the answer. I told you yesterday, Yoni manye prabadhyante shariradvaya. The Atma goes. It's a journey of life. Even the body doesn't die. Higgs boson, 1963, Peter Higgs found that the boson, the Higgs boson, is supposed to live for 10,000th of a trillionth of a second and changes its form. Out of 1,000 times, 2 times it becomes protons. In an atom, protons, neutrons, we have electrons in an atom, we have. So protons and photons are different light. That is what this is why. Photons are particles in light which do not decay. They are all copycats of each other. There is no difference. That is light. That is what Tirumoolar also says. Everybody accepts that there is going to be a rebirth. In Hindu philosophy, there is nothing called hell, heaven, or there is nothing called hell. Who created the hell? Who created the devil? Thomas Alzheimer is asking in the 10th, 11th century. Vedas say, no, God has to create it. A devil cannot create its own self, then it also becomes a creator. Though on the negative side, it has the power of a creator, it cannot. So God has to create a devil. So if God creates a devil, then God also can become a devil. You cannot explain that science, because out of him comes the devil. How it can come out of him? That's a question. So that's what the Mandukya Rishi says. Everything is Maya. The Advaita and the Dvaita philosophy, there has been no creation, but in this Maya, you have the matter cannot be created or destroyed. You have the Punarjanma and the Punarmarana. Because Atma is, Paramatma is unborn. Nainam chintanti shastrani, nainam dahati papakaha, na chainam kletayanti apaha, na soshayati maruta. Nainam, na plus enam. Enam is this. Ayam imau ime, imam imau ima, or imam or enam. You can say this. If you know, we have to learn deep Sanskritam to understand these things. Nainam chintanti, so arrows cannot cut, water cannot wet it, fire cannot burn it. Nainam chintanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha is a beautiful word. Punlinga, Purushalingam for fire in Agni, like Agni, pavaka. Nainam na dahati pavakaha, na cha yenam, na chainam kledayanti. Water cannot wet it, na soshayati maruta. Wind cannot dry it. So it's a state of unborn, it is zero, value is, I will not take it as infinite and all, because infinite may be the size, but the zero is the value where you can go to the state of unborn. Infinite, if you take, means it goes on and goes on without an end, so you put a number infinite. But zero is a clear number where it is a arupi, formless. Formless in zero, character is zero, so it cannot have a partiality in character. How can there be a partiality? How can there be differences? It's a very big question. Whereas, I think in the book, The Greatest Show on Earth, written by Richard Dawkins, who is, I think, the current professor in Oxford, and his guru is Charles Darwin on the origin of species, theory of natural selections and all. They write that originally the cell was even unisex. There was no male and female. And later on it developed. How they developed? Natural selection theory of, nobody knows, it developed. So we are not going there, even if those sciences are applied, it could be only Maya. Actually, we are all unreal. We are all not truth, because a body decays and changes its form. It is not truth, it is untruth, because truth has to be permanent. Truth is truth always, all point of time, everywhere, any place. Truth is truth. It is permanent. Once a truth becomes, once if you have something which is untrue, for example, the death of a person, the birth and death of a person, it is untrue. His body decays. His body decays, so it is not permanent, so he is not revealing the truth, so he is revealing untruth. And who created his body? It is the heavenly divine, the Paramatma. So Paramatma does not create. So Paramatma can only give you a Maya. How the Maya came into existence, we do not know. We have to ask the theory of natural selection. The Maya is there, the world is unreal. Maya vidyatehi, everything is created by Maya. There is nothing real, because God cannot create something which is different. When He created the universe, our sun, there are lots of suns. Proxima Centauri is a distant star, that is size, the character, the quality, the chemistry is different from our Earth. Jupiter is different from our Earth. Saturn is different from our Earth. There are differences at the point of the first 3 seconds itself. There were differences were born. So differences cannot be there, because God has to be truth, and truth has to be permanent. A truth cannot decay. Anything which decays is untruth. It is not satya, it is asatyam. So God cannot be part and parcel of asatyam, part and parcel of decaying untruth. That is, any decaying matter, any differences. Because this body, this creation, everything we come out of the creation. Not, we did not create our body when we were born. So, coming into the world of Maya, I have written a book called A Cosmic Code is Illusion. Some of you can see it is available Amazon e-Kindle in the e-format too. Do you really die? All these things I have explained through physics only. That matter changes, even the body doesn't die. The body changes its form, it decays, changes its form, all the atoms and everything in the body changes its character, changes into different atoms, then they coagulate, they group together and are kick-started by an energy. Kick, like your battery in a car. You put the battery in the car, then the car, you switch on the button, grrr, the car starts. A toy car, for example. So likewise, the creation itself is not there. That's what Mandukya Rishi, I have given good series of lectures on Mandukya Rishi in my YouTube. You can go through my videos. And then Gadopanishad, Yamadharmaraja's advice, how the body is not perishable. It goes into the womb of a creature, or it goes into the fixed ones like trees, stones and all. It changes its form as per yatha shruta yatha karma. Valluvar also beautifully says, Piravik kadal neenduvar neenda iraivan adi serara. Those who do not go into the concept of white, that is the feet of the Lord, they will be born again and again in the sea of birth and death. So that is why this explains. Now somebody was asking me about Buddha. So for example, if Buddha something has plus 100, how he can have plus 100? Because once you hit the straight line, why? You have to merge with the Atma. The Atma leaves the body and merges. Buddha was, because of his previous karma, he could have been born from generations and in the plus area. The point is, he could not, as Veda says, Matrudevo bhava, Piturdevo bhava, Acharya devo bhava, Atithi devo bhava, Satyan na pramadidhavyam, Dharman na pramadidhavyam, Kushalan na pramadidhavyam, Deva Pitru Karyabhyam na pramadidhavyam. Deva Pitru Karyabhyam. Dharma, Matru Devo Bhava. He couldn't give much attention to his parents. So he could have earned minus, somewhere here minus 10, minus 20, not to his family. His wife cries with her child to Buddha when he was in Gaya, both Gaya tree in Kashi, near Kashi. Please come to the family, don't. Buddha refuses. So refusal to take care of his family is also one of the important factors which could have caused his minus 20, and finally he would have hit 0 here, so he would have merged with the Atma. He just could have merged with the Atma, the Paramatma, in be a part and parcel of a Paramatma without any further birth and death. Because that's why in Hindu Shastras we say Brahmachari, Grihastham, then Vanaprastham, and then Sannyasam. So you do all the worldly duties and go to sannyasa towards the end, because if you don't attend to your parents, don't attend to your family, don't attend to your wife, don't attend to your children, it is all a sin, a negative variable. Definitely. Because first we have to, even in, they say in English, charity begins at home. First you have to attend, though in Bible there may be some difference in verses. If you hate your father or hate your mother, otherwise you are not fit to be my disciple, I don't accept those verses. You have to do service to your family first. Your parents, your wife, your sisters, your relations, your children, raise them the best of your ability you can. That is all plus variables. It's all good karma. So Buddha could have ignored that. Buddha did not take care of his parents, or even Rama had to keep the promise, but he could not do the Pitru Tarpana for his father. So he would have suffered, and then they all, because being born in 100 plus 100, for example, minus of all these activities, they would have hit the 100 0, and then they merged there. Whereas if you take Aurangzeb, yes, he was born a rich man, he must be minus 10, very close to 0. But you see his karmic activities, he hacked his own brother, Murad, and put his body on the street light, on the lamp post in Delhi. Just 500, 600 years back, it is noted down by historians. He didn't attend to his parents. He was a very cruel, wicked man as per history records. A very tyrant, only attached to the power. He wanted to be king, and then he finally cried at the time, oh, I am leaving all these things and I am dying. Yes, he may have lived 8-7 years, but you would have taken all minus 10, from minus 10 you would have gone to minus 200 here, for example. So you will have to take several births to wash out his negativity. So the point is, when you hit the 0, why it's equal to 0, but the state of unborn, there will be no Maya for you. You are merged with the Paramatma. You are always there. And therefore, what happens is, the death and cycle, birth cycle, appearing to us through Maya, will get completely dismembered. There will not be any Maya. There will be a pure merging with the Paramatma, the Shiva Jyoti, as you call it. When you mix with the Paramatma, you become the Paramatma. Aham Brahmasmi. It's a famous verse. Only by the body, like a cow dung, covering the diamond. If you put a cow dung on a diamond in the forest will not shine. So they say the body is something which has both good and bad, dirt and good things. So you have to use this vehicle to achieve the enlightenment, as Buddha said. So the mind is important. So y, when you get into y, the zero, the a becomes, everything becomes zero. So if there is an a value to an a, either a plus or a minus value, you are reborn. But once the a hits a zero, either from the top or from the down, from the plus side or from the minus side, you hit the zero. Sannyasa, I took an example. It's a good example because Buddha taught goodness to the world. So that is why finally after teaching, but at the same time he couldn't attend to the family duties. He was born to be rich and rich and rich, and he could have been more rich. The greatest sacrifice ever in the human history is sacrifice of Lord Buddha. He gave up his beautiful palace, beautiful wife, lovely child, complete system, all power, all wealth, just to know the truth. That is sacrifice. Enduring physical pain, many people have physical pain. A terrorist being torturing someone, that poor man will have physical pain. But here, being aware of the situations, knowledgeable situations, being aware that this is what is going to happen, and this is the highest form of enjoyment I am having. Already you are enjoying. See, for example, myself traveling in AC sleeper or AC first class in a train. Now I cannot go and travel in a second class general compartment. Impossible. Small sacrifice I cannot do. Think of Lord Buddha. That is why Lord Buddha is Lord Buddha, who gave Buddha the thought, the niceties to the world, and not Yuddha. So that is the point. The y has to be zero, because in the field of Maya, if you want to avoid birth and rebirth, your karma has to be there. That is the science. That is the mathematics. You have to have good karma. Nobody can come and save you. Nobody can come and save you. Your individual karma. The chapter 16 from 1 to 3 verses, please go through how beautifully Bhagavan Krishna advises Arjuna, right from Ahimsa to Apaishunam to Satyam, Jnanam, everything is there. First class for everybody. And even Krodha, one has to remove